Good evening, residents of Everett, Washington. I'd like to welcome all of you and call the order of the Everett City Council meeting of August 6, 2025. For information on our council meetings and how to participate, please visit everettwa.gov / city council. Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Mayor Franklin.
Here.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
Councilmember Fosse.
Excused.
Councilmember Bader.
Here.
Councilmember Ryan.
Here.
Councilmember Vogely.
Here.
Councilmember Tui.
Here.
President Schwab.
Here. Now on to old business. Do I hear a motion to approval of the minutes for July 23rd, 2025?
Yes, President, you should pledge.
Oh, why, thank you. I'm already jumping ahead. Thank you for one of the most important things. Councilmember Bader, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Vice President Zarlingo, would you read the land acknowledgement, please?
Gladly. This council acknowledges the original inhabitants of this place, the Stohopes people, and their successors, the Tulalip tribes. Since time immemorial, they've hunted, fished, gathered on, and taken care of these lands and waters. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and honor their sacred spiritual connection with the land and water. We will strive to be honest about our past mistakes and bring about a future that includes their people, stories, and voices to form a more just and equitable society.
Thank you. Now on to old business. Do I have a motion?
I'll move approval of the minutes of July 23rd, 2025.
Councilmember Ryan seconds.
Okay, motion and seconds made. Clerk, please take the roll.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. Okay, on to our mayor's comments. Good evening.
Good evening, council and community. I would have a few comments tonight, so I apologize if there's a little lengthy. First, I want to take a moment to honor and remember a remarkable individual whose dedication and service have profoundly impacted our community. Carol Jensen, an advocate leader of Everett Faith in Action and a longtime pastor, has been a beacon of hope and compassion for many years and sadly passed away last week. Carol's tireless advocacy for social justice and her unwavering commitment to helping those in need have inspired us all. Through her leadership, she brought together diverse groups to work towards common goals, fostering understanding in our community and advocating for our most vulnerable individuals. Her legacy of service and compassion will continue to inspire us for years to come. And so on behalf of the city of Everett, I extend our deepest gratitude and admiration for her contributions and my heartfelt condolences to her family and many friends. Tonight, you'll hear a briefing on an ordinance to help us hold individuals accountable who are frequently tagging graffiti on Everett homes and businesses. This is really frustrating for businesses and residents who have to spend the time and money to remove tagging from their property. And the ordinance will provide a new tool for accountability that makes it clear that graffiti tagging isn't a prank and it's a serious crime that impacts safety in our community. And then I want to share some heroic actions recently. Early on July 26th, there was a fiery collision that occurred on I-5 near SR2 in Everett. 2 Everett police officers were nearby and responded within minutes. They pulled a trapped driver from a burning electric vehicle, saving his life. Both officers acted without hesitation, risking their own safety to get him out of the flames as it spread quickly. Both officers were treated for smoke inhalation and are doing well. And I'm really grateful for these officers, for their bravery, and to the families who know they take these risks every day to protect our community. Thank you. And finally, we will be swearing in a few new officers. These officers are further bolstering our patrol staffing numbers, as Chief DeRoos recently shared with you. It's the highest amount of patrol officers we've had in over a decade. And I think that increased presence is making measurable difference in service delivery, officer safety, and our community. So I'd like to invite Acting Captain Tim Morgan up to swear in our newest officers. And before he does, I need to share a few things about Captain Morgan. He's been a dedicated member of Everett Police Department since 1998, so that's 27 years, more than 27 years. And he recently stepped into a vital leadership role overseeing all of patrol operations at our South Precinct. Just prior to that, he served as the commander of the Northwest Regional Law Enforcement Academy, an academy he helped build from the ground up. and the academy just had its first graduation. Thanks to Tim's leadership and vision, that academy is now training the next generation of officers right here in our backyard. In fact, 4 of the 5 new officers we're welcoming tonight are graduates of that very academy he helped establish. So please join me in welcoming Tim forward to swear in our new officers. Captain Morgan, come on forward.
Thank you for those kind words, Mayor. Appreciate that. I'd like to introduce our group of new officers. First, if you could please step forward, Leah Cato. Leah grew up in South Carolina and lived in Alaska prior to relocating to Washington State in 2012. She is currently working on her Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice with a concentration in police administration and operations. Before joining the Everett Police Department, Leah worked in corporate finance and spent the last 10 years in financial operations management. Leah decided to pursue her lifelong dream of becoming a peace officer to give back to the community. She had a great experience when first interacting with EPD and noted the number of officers who had been with the department for many years, which assured her that she was making the right choice over other agencies. Leah, along with 3 other officers here tonight, graduated on July 29th from the first class of the Northwest Regional Basic Law Enforcement Academy in Arlington. Leah is excited to be back at the department to continue her learning alongside experienced officers and becoming familiar with the various technologies EPD is leveraging to assist officers in their service to our community. Leah joins EPD with her fiance, Jokley. Leah's interests include strength training, travel, trying new restaurants, and diving into a good podcast or documentary. Welcome, Leah. And Officer Coker, please step forward. Justin Coker was born and raised in Conroe, Texas. After graduating from high school, he played collegiate baseball before joining the U.S. Army in 2016. Justin served 4 years as a combat medic specialist at Joint Base Lewis McChord. After being discharged from the Army, Justin returned to Texas, where he worked at a car dealership while pursuing a bachelor's degree in supply chain management. Justin had always been interested in law enforcement and knew it would be a challenging and fulfilling career he could be proud of. Justin and his family were interested in returning to Washington, so he researched agencies and learned Everett PD had an excellent reputation. Upon visiting, he was impressed by the high caliber staff and good morale. So he joined and graduated from the Northwest Regional Basic Law Enforcement Academy on July 29th, and he looks forward to making a positive impact in the community during a long and meaningful career at EPD. He joins with his girlfriend, Katona, and daughter Avery. In his spare time, he likes to hike, camp, and spend time with his family. Welcome, Justin. Officer Coker. Rudy Gilgallon, please step forward. Rudy was born in Glasgow, Scotland, but moved permanently to the United States in 2011. Before moving to Washington, Rudy lived in California, where he earned a Bachelor of Science degree in cognitive psychology from the University of California, San Diego. During his education, Rudy gained experience in applied behavior analysis for children with disabilities. After several years of working in retail management, Rudy spent the past year working as a records specialist for the Everett Police Department. He decided to pursue law enforcement because he wanted a career that was fulfilling, challenging, and full of variety. Rudy graduated from the Basic Law Enforcement Academy on July 29th with his peers, and he's excited about his career as an Everett police officer. He's joined by his wife, Anya, and in their spare time, they both enjoy hiking, watching movies, and spending time with their 2 pugs. Welcome. Officer Lillis, please step forward. Kevin Lillis grew up in Vancouver, Washington, and graduated from Washington State University in 2015. While at WSU, Kevin met his wife, Sarah. Prior to joining EPD, Kevin worked at Frito-Lay Incorporated for 8 years, where he held various positions, including sales rep, driver, district manager, and senior business manager. After multiple positive interactions with law enforcement and first responders over the years, Kevin began to consider a profession that would make a real positive impact in people's lives, both big and small. When deciding where to work, Kevin stayed close to home, and he's lived in the Everett area ever since graduating from college and loves this community. Kevin is another graduate from the Northwest Basic Law Enforcement Academy, and he's eager to begin his field training phase. He's excited to learn from other experienced officers and begin interacting with the community and other first responders. Kevin and Sarah just celebrated their 8th anniversary and enjoy traveling to Vancouver, BC, where her family resides. Kevin also loves fly fishing and exploring new areas on his motorcycle. And finally, we have Officer Miles. Christian Miles, please step forward. Christian was born in the Fresno area and spent most of his younger years in Southern California. He moved to Washington when he was a teenager and graduated from Sequim High School in 2013. Christian went on to earn his associate's degree from Olympic College and completed his EMT certification with Clark County Fire District 5. Prior to joining EPD, Christian worked as an EMT for American Medical Response in Thurston County. He knew he wanted a career that would further challenge him both mentally and physically and allow him to help others make a difference in the community. Everett PD stood out to Christian following his ride-along as having proactive officers and a very welcoming feel from all he interacted with. Christian also graduated from the Northwest Basic Law Enforcement Academy, and he's excited for what the future holds, to include maybe even his first foot chase. He looks forward to learning from experienced officers, both for professionally and personally, become a better officer, partner, father, and leader. Christian joins EPD with his fiancee, Joanna, and in their spare time, they like watching sports, backpacking, and working out. Welcome, Christian.
Thank you. So do I have a motion to accept Leah Cato, Justin Coker, Really Gilgallen, Kevin Lillis, and Christian Miles as our newest members of the Everett Police Department?
So move the motion.
Seconded.
Clerk, please take the roll.
Vice President Zarlingo.
Yes.
Councilmember Bader.
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan.
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely.
Yes.
Councilmember Tui.
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes.
Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name, do solemnly swear that I am a citizen of the United States or lawful permanent resident,
Citizen of the United States or lawful resident,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington,
the Constitution and laws of the state of Washington,
and the charter and ordinances of the city of Everett,
and the charter of the city of Everett,
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
and I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
perform the duties of police officer
perform the duties of police officer
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Really great for each other.
Thank you.
Again,
Thanks again.
welcome. Yeah, we're going to choosing that. Okay, congratulations. And with that, no further comments for me tonight. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Okay, so we'll move on to public comments. Includes written comment acknowledgement. Under our rules, written comments need to be in the same manner as oral comments. Person submitting must provide their name and city of residence to make our permanent record. Good evening, Angie. Do we have anyone here to speak?
Good evening, President Schwab. We do, but we did receive one written comment from John Peoples regarding the outdoor multi-use facility. And that was submitted to council, legal, city clerk, and administration to be part of the record. And we have Paul Roberts here to speak. So if you'd like to come to the podium. And please press the red button for the mic to turn on. State your full name and city of residence, and you have 5 minutes to speak.
Thank you so much. Mayor and members of the council, and friends who are not council members. I see a number of faces that are familiar, and it is wonderful to be here before you. Thank you for your service. I'm not accustomed to being here after having left the council, but I'm glad to be here tonight to talk about something that I think is important for the city. Last week, I attended a workshop that was put on by Snohomish County, and it was the Climate Resilience Plan Open House. It is a piece of work that they are engaging in, and I want to bring that to your attention. And let me just say, I have no knowledge of what is or isn't happening between the city and the county. I know they are doing outreach. I suspect there's already been communication. If not, I would like to encourage that there be. The climate resilience plan really addresses those issues that are before us now in terms of disasters, most notably floods, fires, and heat, but others as well. And there are some things that we have learned, and I have spent a lot of time researching these issues and wanted to bring them to the attention because I think the county's work can be well integrated with the cities and vice versa. And they are bringing together their key departments. They are bringing together their emergency service management. And I think some of the lessons we've learned right here in Puget Sound region, whether it's the heat dome in 2021 or the extreme floods in 2021 in the Nooksack Valley or in 2023 in Skagit County, and our own river systems and Snohomish River systems. We know that these events are exceeding the statistical frameworks that have historically been used to measure them. That is to say, Mother Nature is loaded the dice, and these events are supersized. And that characteristic is true of every single major disaster, whether it's fires in LA, or fires in Lahaina, or floods, which are right here, heat domes, which are right here. These are deadly events, and the integration of emergency management with them is critical. So I say to you that there are some key pieces here. First of all, that nature has taken on a new approach to these events. And the statistics are no longer helpful in predicting future behaviors. Secondly, that the cavalry is not coming. And that is to say, the federal government is not only not in a position to help, they are actively seeking to disengage in this work. And that is true of every single agency of the federal government that has anything to do with climate change measurements, emergency response, NOAA, FEMA, and so on. So, and that's now a stated policy of the federal government. It's not something that I'm making up. It's something I'm simply reporting based on what has been widely reported in all the news organizations. Thirdly, is that, and this is critical for emergency management, Mother Nature doesn't have a poker face. Every single disaster, without exception, there have been indicators that either that these events are happening, whether it's heat or floods or fire, that can be read and used to inform emergency management responses. And in many cases, those emergency management responses are creating evacuation routes to get people out. That's been particularly true of wildfires. When we have high heat and low humidity, virtually everything is turned into fuel. And so the evacuation process becomes more important than fire suppression, because fire suppression will not be effective. And that's true, that has been true of all of these events throughout not only the United States, but Canada and elsewhere. I also want to point out that based on what we now know and the more recent history, particularly in the last 10 years, what we think of in terms of risk management and liability has changed. And the world will judge what we do based on the new data that we now have, knowing that these circumstances have changed. So it becomes even more important to build this work into our climate action plan, our emergency management plan. The city was one of the leaders in first putting forward a climate action plan. And I think this is a real opportunity to work with the county and actually maximize resources of both entities, the county and the city, to do this work. So I wanted to bring it to your attention. I think it's exciting work. This is what adaptation looks like. And I think there's an opportunity for the city to really piggyback and maximize resources in doing this work for public safety. So thank you for the time. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I'm just as happy to let you get to your agenda. But it's good to see you all, and thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you. And that concludes our public comments.
Okay, and let's move on to council comments. We'll start off with Vice President Zarlingo.
Well, first, they've gone already, but I wanted to thank the officers for choosing Everett. As has been the case with the recent swearing-ins we've done, the new officers show a wide range of impressive credentials, diversity in their background, and a lot of background experience, a lot of maturity there. That's great stuff to see. I'd like to thank another person who's gone. Paul Roberts, I think I first worked with him as a neighborhood leader. He was a planning director, but since then he's also been the neighborhood liaison for the Silver Lake neighborhood that I was in. So I really want to say I appreciate his long service to the city. For my own part, last Thursday, I attended the Silver Lake Neighborhood Association meeting. I want to thank neighborhood leaders Mackenzie Sullivan and Josh Curry for organizing these meetings. Mackenzie is also on our Everett Planning Commission, often sits in this chair, I think. And we appreciate the way, these multiple ways she's serving her community. At that meeting, we got a briefing from Everett Transit on their present and future activities, the interaction with community transit and sound transit, and the survey they're doing now to best allocate their resources. And our tax dollars was a great chance to see how transit works at different ways in different parts of the city. Others will talk here tonight, I think, about last night's National Night Out. I attended 3 events there. One of them was at Kings Ridge, which is actually outside the city of Everett's limits, but within Everett's urban growth boundary, which is, if you're not familiar with, that's part of the regional plan to describe where cities are expected to expand. It's a neat, cohesive neighborhood. They had questions about density, growth, the potential benefits and impacts of being part of Everett. And I know that potential annexations are on the minds of several council members. This was a great opportunity for myself and for Mayor Franklin to hear from those who may be affected. I also went to the National Night Out celebration or event at Hilton Place, another neat neighborhood nearby, a chance for neighbors and especially the kids to come and play together. And it was really encouraging to see that. But talking with residents about city and neighborhood issues, I realized we, as a council and city in general, have still more work to do in terms of outreach to make residents more aware and get them more involved. I don't want to cast any shade on what efforts have gone on so far, but it just encouraged me to redouble my efforts to keep up the email and the personal contacts wherever we can do that, ways to make that happen. And then lastly, with Councilmember Ryan, I think being there earlier, I went to the Pinehurst Beverly Park event at Lions Park, another wonderful spot, really one of my favorite parks in the city, right next to the local Boys and Girls Club. One of the recipients of some of the ARPA funds that I aimed that way to the 4 Boys and Girls Clubs here in Everett a year or two ago. That particular park's been under some strain in recent years, including its share of graffiti, drug use, some youth assaults. And the city has focused on increased community involvement and law enforcement, and residents shared their experience that situation has really been improved in a major way. They're very happy to see that. And coming soon to that park is a small skating feature called a Skate Dot. It's on our agenda tonight. So this involves the city getting some funds from Snohomish County and from our Capital Improvement Fund, CIP 3. So that will help improve and activate that park and let basically increased beneficial activities help discourage harmful activities. So some really good direction in that area and great neighborhood involvement. I want to thank the neighborhood leaders there. That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Councilmember Bader.
Just to add on to the theme of National Night Out, I just want to say thank you to all the volunteers in all our neighborhoods who helped put that together. Obviously, the support of city staff. Went to Riverside, a really big event and really exciting and energetic, and then went to Northwest Everett, a little one in Northwest Everett, the Skyline neighborhood, and a couple of neighbors put on. Really kind of felt like I think what we had originally thought of the original National Night Out, a bunch of neighbors on their street getting together, just getting to know each other better, and a great event. So again, thanks to those volunteers and all who worked to put it together. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ryan.
Great. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our new officers. And also wanted to thank former Councilmember Paul Roberts for stopping by and sharing the helpful information. I think it would be great to have a discussion at one of our Parks and Built Environment Committee meetings with an update on the progress that we've been making on the Climate Action Plan. And then also, as we've been warned, the integration of our climate action plan with emergency management and preparing for climate disasters and how we can be better prepared for that. So I think that's an excellent, appreciate Paul bringing that to our attention. I also attended a neighborhood night out, national night out events. I had planned to go to 4. I did miss Lions Park. I ran out of time, but my kids had their fill of cupcakes and candy and chips and all sorts of good stuff. So appreciate everybody's hard work to put on all the events. All the events that I did attend were very well attended, better than I've seen in years past. So it was great to see that activation and excitement from neighbors to join for events. And I think there were maybe 15 or 17 events across the whole city, which was just a pretty astounding number. So fantastic for Everett. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Vogely.
Good evening. Thanks everybody for being here. Thank you, Mayor, for bringing to our attention the death of Carol Jensen. I did not realize, and so heard that first tonight. So rest in peace, Carol, and condolences to family. Also, thank you, Paul Roberts, for bringing the climate resilience plan information forward. Appreciate that. I know you're gone. And also welcome to the new recruits. I was lucky enough to actually watch the entire graduation of class 915 in Arlington on Tuesday. So I saw a lengthier version earlier and heard wonderful young children singing anthems in the corridors. And it was a nice event. And I was very pleased to know that a lot of the people that I appreciate took part in teaching those candidates and graduates. So thank you to you who are not here now. That is all. All right. Thank you.
Councilmember Dewey.
Yeah, well, I too didn't know about Carol, so I'm really sorry to hear that. She was a wonderful person to everybody. So my thoughts go out to her family. And I want to thank Paul Roberts for coming today. It was great to see him. I know that we talk about emergency management in the safety committee, so I know they kind of cross over between committees, but that would be something to put on our future agenda also. And welcome the new officers. That wonderful to see all them. And I did get to the Kiwanis Park last night with the Port Gardner Bay neighborhood, and it was packed. And the renovations on the park, did I see him here? Yes, they look wonderful. We were playing on that wall, whatever you call it, the ball wall or something. It was fun. Anyway, had a great time, and that's all for now.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. I too want to recognize Paul and all his Paul Roberts and all his contribution he's made to the city and to Congressman Larson's office. And I'm very thankful that he's still going strong in this stage of his life. So really appreciate him. I also want to recognize this group. Councilmember Zarlingo said something about continuing engagement. I know it's always a challenge, right? So thank you for this group for spending time. I know Councilman Ryan, you did 3 or 4. I think the mayor did 7 or 8. I think my record is 5. So good job on this group being very involved in it. And it's really, really important. And the 3 that I attended were very engaging. It was great to see families get together. And so, yeah, thank you for that. So really appreciate the effort of the city staff. And we had police and fire and parks and library, all the departments out. Transit, yeah, thank you, out. Public Works, yeah, out communicating and engaging. And I know some of the neighborhoods had booths set up. So just want to put a plug in for next year. If you're watching and you didn't make it to one, please plan on attending next year. Yeah, so I guess moving on to administration.
Yeah, just briefly, I think this has been made clear, but perhaps for folks in the audience, we do have a briefing on item 14, the first reading on the graffiti ordinance. We just missed, it's on the cover sheet, missed putting it on the main agenda, but look forward to that as the final item on your agenda. And then I think a couple weeks ago, Councilmember Vogel had asked about police volunteers using police department vehicles. And so I have some information update around that. Volunteers do an amazing amount of work for our community in the department. They do things like vacation checks, shopping cart recovery, graffiti paint over, and other things. They do have a small EV car that's not suitable for patrol right now. It was assigned to services, but that didn't fit their needs, and so they repurposed it. And the department does make sure that they're clearly identifiable as volunteers and not officers. And I had something about a question that Councilmember Fossey had, but I'll just wait till next week to share that. And I think, and I'll follow up on climate resilience work. That's part of my, among some of the things that I do. So I'll take Paul's comments, and I have some stuff in the inbox about that plan, but I'll dig in a little bit too. And the comments that you guys made about committee items too. So that's it. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. How about our city attorney, David Hall?
No report, but we are requesting a 10-minute executive session pursuant to RCW 4231.10.1B to discuss a real estate matter with no council action to follow.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, on to our consent items. We have 12 consent items. Do I have a motion?
So move to approve the consent items.
Second.
Motion and second. Clerk, please take the roll.
Vice President Zarlingo,
Yes.
Councilmember Bader,
Yes.
Councilmember Ryan,
Yes.
Councilmember Vogely,
Yes.
Councilmember Tui,
Yes.
President Schwab.
Yes. Okay, moving on to proposed action item number 13, Council Bill 2507-40. It's been read in the record. Are there any questions from council? Is there no presentation? Okay, so the final reading will be read 8/13/25. Oh, you have a question. I'm sorry.
Really quick, I don't think I need an answer tonight, but this is gonna come up in the next one. And I'm thinking of a free wall. I know that a skate dot has, it's very small. I just want to put out there and a free wall, and that's a graffiti wall where people get to paint on it and it is acceptable. I don't know if that fits together with a skate dot. So there you go. It has been said out loud.
I'll just say that I actually was meeting with Councilmember Ryan earlier today, and she had also expressed an interest in a free wall. I will look into that with the team. I think if we are to look into something like that, it would likely not be in that area because of the crime and vandalism and things that we've had with graffiti in that area, but maybe another area that could be a safer venue. So I'll work with the placemaking team and Parks and other Public Works team to see what we can come up with and bring back to you as an option, if that's possible.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll move on to item number 14, first reading with briefing after. Council Bill 2507-41, first reading, adopt an ordinance creating a civil infraction against a graffiti tagger for the unauthorized application of illegal graffiti, amending chapter 10.62 Everett Municipal Code. The third and final reading will be August 20th.
Yes, we do have a briefing. So Lacey and Captain Morgan, who you are familiar with now, if you weren't before, or will come up, and Lacey's here for support, and Tim has the main presentation, so you can go right ahead.
Perfect. Good evening again, Mayor, Council President Schwab, and council members. Thank you for inviting me to speak about the importance of supplementing our existing graffiti ordinance by adding an option for a civil infraction penalty. Last year, the Everett Police Department fielded 65 reports of illegal graffiti. The city spent approximately $73,987.77 to abate graffiti throughout the community. That's abating unlawful graffiti. Since January of 2024, 16 cases of unlawful graffiti-related charges have been filed with our municipal court. So the civil infraction option creates two primary benefits. First, there are many instances of graffiti application in which the police department has evidence and suspect information, but it's not enough to meet the criminal filing threshold. Okay, so in these cases, a civil infraction may be an option that we can use to hold offenders accountable. The second benefit is that the infraction provides us a diversion option from criminal charges when it's appropriate. In addition, RCW 7.80 provides the court authority to issue or to institute community service in lieu of a civil infraction. The police department has a wonderful group of citizen volunteers, which we've talked about tonight, that have applied almost 20 gallons of paint so far this year to abate graffiti in the city. This group volunteers their time and provides a cost savings to the city in terms of our labor cost. I just want to thank you for your support and our efforts to combat the unlawful graffiti that we're experiencing throughout the city. And I'm open to take any questions if you like.
Questions? Councilmember Bader?
Yeah, thanks, Council President. Thanks for bringing this to us. A couple of questions. First, and I apologize, I did look through the draft ordinance, but didn't pay attention to what kind of penalty or civil fine, and approximately how much are we looking at?
So this would be a $250 civil infraction.
Gotcha. Second question would be, when we find graffiti damage, does the cost to abate that to property owner, whoever, approximate $250, or what? I mean, what are they? Any idea what we're looking at for?
That's a difficult question to answer because I think it depends on the scope of how much graffiti is applied and where it's applied. So yeah, I spoke earlier about our citizen volunteers that get out there and try to abate some of this graffiti on 75th Street, Casino Road, and these different areas. But there's some folks that want to put graffiti and tagging up in areas that it's not safe for our volunteers to go to. So in those cases, we hire like an outside contractor to go to abate the graffiti.
Apologize for keeping going with, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, no worries, sir. Go ahead.
In that case, is there, and maybe this might be for Lacey, is there some civil action that the property owner can take to recoup it, or even the city to recoup additional costs beyond that for
I have
cost of cleaning up?
two answers. First, the way that the ordinance is drafted does allow the court to impose restitution costs. So in that case, we would provide evidence to the court about the abatement costs, whether that's to us or to the private property owner. And the court could then impose not only the $250 civil penalty, but in addition to that, also the restitution costs payable to the property owner, be that the city or a private property owner. I said I had two responses to that, and I think I covered both of them in that one response.
Very good. I'm almost done. Just two more questions here. What any guesstimate of the number of offenders that you catch, find, juvenile versus adult?
I don't think we have those numbers. We'd be certainly happy to look into them. What I can tell you is the 16 offenders that Captain Morgan already referenced, those are adult offenders. And the infraction, the RCWs that govern the infraction management do provide for jurisdiction to impose the infraction against 16 and 17-year-old offenders in addition to adult offenders. So anybody younger than that, we would probably look to our law enforcement partners to provide other services to them and their family. I know Chief Drews has talked about the diversion options for juveniles and that sort of thing.
And finally, and this came up at the Council of Neighborhoods to pretty wide acclaim amongst, at least unscientifically, to those who were there at the council, the need to hold or to find some way to impose costs against the parents of juvenile offenders, because so often there's no hope of recouping restitution costs, at least from, I think, popularly against against juvenile offenders. I'd certainly be interested in modifying what we have before us to look at doing that. And I think that would be, I think there'd be some widespread community support for that, at least based on the reaction when this came up at the Council of Neighborhoods.
Sure.
Thanks.
I can take some time to look into that from a legal standpoint and propose some options.
Great. Thank you.
Councilmember Vogely?
Thank you. Thanks for bringing this forward. I know that the police have an understanding because I've been in community meetings, and I have an understanding, and a lot of the folks out there do too. There's a difference between graffiti art and tagging, and it's all illegal, I suppose, if you don't get permission. I guess I'm curious where we're looking at really, because the stuff that I'm most concerned with, that I think most of the people are concerned with, is just that ugly junk. There are other words for it, that we see on Casino Road, that we see on 4th Avenue, next to Voyager. Are we differentiating between the styles, or it's just all illegal? And that probably has to do, well, yes, that's my question. Can we differentiate?
We can certainly differentiate, and that I know exactly what you're speaking to. That is something that we target, specifically the tagging, because it's of its criminal street gang ties. Okay, because it does a lot more than just destroy someone's property. It makes a statement, and a statement that our community is supporting. So that is what we tend to address the most, if not exclusively. But when we look at graffiti, what we try to do and what we do is use the legal description in our city ordinance to assess whether or not it's unlawful. But there are many instances of graffiti throughout the city, and so from a priority standpoint, certainly those are the tagging type is the stuff that we're looking to address.
Thank you. I have more. In the definitions, section 1, graffiti implement or paraphernalia. I'm not sure where this is going to I didn't see it listed anywhere besides definitions, and I'm not sure how helpful it is. So it means an aerosol paint container, felt tip marker, graffiti sticker, paint stick, gum label, brush, roller, etching tool, blah, blah, blah. Any piece, design, scrapbook, or drawings illustrating graffiti marks or signs. And so I guess I'm wondering, like, if I could go to the park and sit down and start drawing in my journal with my markers that are felt tip, looking at my cool book of graffiti designs and graph art, and get picked up because I might be a graffiti artist, that you saw somebody that looks like me tagging on some wall. So there's lots of us that hold these really cool art supplies on the regular. And where would the graffiti implement or paraphernalia get involved in this ordinance besides the definition?
I'll take that one. I apologize if it seems like I'm being rude. I wanted to pull up the Everett Municipal Code, not like texting my best friend. But you'll notice that the underlined language is new language. So the graffiti implementer paraphernalia is language that already exists in our Everett Municipal Code. We're not also amending the entire chapter 1062. There is a separate crime that is not in the materials tonight because there's
Okay.
no amendment to it of having graffiti implements and tools. So presuming somebody meets the elements of that crime, and that's what I was trying to look up really quickly, because frankly, I don't know them off the top of my head. That's when that would apply, is that definition. But the proposed infraction does not take into consideration the paraphernalia aspect.
Okay, thank you very much.
Mayor Franklin, did you have a comment?
Yeah, since Councilmember Vocally mentioned Voyager, I just wanted to share the really amazing project that we're working on. Thanks to funding from Councilmember Tui for cultural arts grants. We are working in partnership with Voyager on to clear, and Bunker Arts Collective to get rid of all the graffiti that's kind of on the gateway into the school. The school gave an outstanding presentation to placemaking manager Tyler Chisholm and myself a few months ago, where their vision is to have images of music which can unite people of a lot of different backgrounds, and that they would represent the school and the full community. And they're going to provide murals there in partnership with Bunker Arts Collective to cover up the graffiti and hopefully keep the graffiti away and the tagging, because typically art isn't tagged. So just really great program that look forward to having there in your district very soon.
Yeah, thank you. Councilmember Ryan.
Just thanks for bringing that up.
Great, thank you. To go off of what Councilmember Bader mentioned earlier about the restitution for additional costs that are incurred, the ordinance does say that there's a $250 fine and shall further be liable for responsible public or private party for restitution of cost. So the shall language, I'm not sure if that's too restrictive or mandatory to require that the courts also hold them liable for the additional fees, which I'm not, I think that's reasonable, but to be bound to have to do that, I'm wondering if that might be too inflexible. So I would kind of share that with the ether, if we should maybe change shall to may, just to give flexibility to the courts or to prosecutor's office or whoever to make sure that, we're not mandating something that maybe isn't always applicable. I also was curious, I'm glad to see the community service element in here for sure. I think, a strict monetary fine isn't equitable by any means. So community service, if you're not able to pay with your treasure, you can pay with your time. So I'm glad to see that. I wanted to give another shout out for the free wall. I've never heard it called a free wall before, but I think that's a great idea. I had shared before with Mayor Franklin when I had mentioned a graffiti ordinance a few months ago that when I was in Atlanta for National League of Cities conference, they have a underpass that's a free underpass basically. And that's where you can graffiti till you're blue in the face from your paint can probably, but and it's beautiful. Like it's constantly changing. When I drove through it, there was a person tagging the wall and, you know, just having their free liberties to do that. And the remainder of the city seemed relatively tag and graffiti free because there was a place where people could go. So I would just give a punctuation mark on that. My last question is, Captain Morgan, you had mentioned about the costs that the city has accrued over the last couple of years due to graffiti removal. I was curious how, I know our Everett Station District Alliance and our Downtown Everett Association, they both also do graffiti abatement and removal. So I was curious how the work that they've done is or isn't incorporated into the numbers that you shared, and how or if this ordinance would help support their work for graffiti removal, or if it would be applicable to them and they could tap into having us help them with prolific offenders.
Yes, and in fact, those numbers are not incorporated into the number that I provided this evening. That's the number that's straight out of our city budget to address it. So when we think about that, the number's probably much larger than what I presented. And I don't believe that any parts of the ordinance provide funds specifically to the Downtown Business Alliance or some of the others that abate graffiti, but
Certainly to the extent that a private property owner utilizes their services for the cost of materials and whatnot, they can provide the restitution information that could be part of the infraction judgment that the judge ultimately enters.
Okay. And so then they could refer, so private property owners could still be able to refer to the city, even though it was the Downtown Everett Association who had removed the graffiti, they would still be able to, this would still apply to people who are taking on those properties.
I think, yeah.
I think that would work. Yeah.
Okay.
We would treat them like a witness.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, great. Thank you.
Oh, okay, good. Any other, Councilmember Vogely?
Got so excited with my props that I forgot. I spoke of the free wall earlier, and since there is a fine that is possible for this, and I know that it costs a lot of money to abate the unwanted graffiti, I am curious if there is extra money, if we could put in place that money that is received from this new ordinance, if there is any, could it go towards that type of a free wall, a place to be built, a thought, like in previous times, I'm remembering the Delta neighborhood with sidewalks, and if we sell property, some of the money from that purchase goes, it must be used on sidewalks, and then the flock cameras must be used towards traffic control. Can this graffiti money be used towards art, but not just any art? I know it can be. I didn't write anything up.
It's a lovely idea. I would honestly say that we're not going to, the cost of prosecuting, the cost of just anything in the criminal justice system far exceeds the minimal money that is collected. So there wouldn't be any money. But I think, looking at other avenues to try to fund something like that, I think is, we could look in our, I honestly don't know what the limitations of some of our 1% for the arts or things like that. So we will look into that, but this would probably not be a tool for it.
So putting it out there.
Okay,
thank you. For real.
thank you. Any other questions? Sorry, I didn't mean to get you up there. And okay. Councilmember Zarlingo.
Well, I have no artistic inclinations, and I guess it's good that I also have no artistic talent, but I do understand that there is a kind of an artistic drive, and that's part of what's going on. And I appreciate the distinction between tagging the marks that are territorial and art. And so I would second the idea of looking for a low-cost, practical way to provide something like the free walls, maybe something even that's mobile panels that can be put out and then maybe displayed. But I would certainly support ways to do that, because it may be a way to make the societal expectation be that it's art, and that way make the tagging seem less attractive, less effective. And then lastly, from personal experience, looking at the way things came and went in graffiti and the Lions Park area and a problematic area there, the speed with which, I think in that case, it might have been a private property owner, painted over things. I really, really appreciate that. I want to shout out to our property owners who are taking that load themselves and really being really active about it. That should be recognized as well.
Okay, well, thank you very much for the presentation. Appreciate it. Okay, that concludes our action items today, and we will now be in recess for executive session. We're expecting 10 minutes with no action to follow. Okay, executive session is ended, and with no further business, we are now adjourned.